Rolling.
Speed, third car, take 9.
Ready to go.
Can we go a little bit deeper on this mastery program? How's that going to work? Am I going to come up with it on my own? Is a teacher going to help me figure it out? Is both?
Mastery of a subject requires a level of independence. If you're going to be really good at something, you're going to have to work on it on your own. And one of the things we're going to do is, starting at a very early age, we're going to begin to have children doing levels of independent work. So all the way through school, we're going to be saying part of your day is in class, but part of your day is working on your own. And at nursery school, that may be working on your own in the corner of the class for a little while. But by the time you're in middle school, you might be spending 20% of the day independently. By the time you get to high school, you may be spending 50% of your day working in various ways on your own projects and passions. And so one, you have to teach that level of independence all through school. The second thing you have to do is you have to support it. You can't go, children, you just go off and do that. A teacher has to work with them on what is their area, why are they picking that area, are you really excited about it, have you tried this? There's coaching that needs to go on. It's highly individualized coaching, and we have to select faculty members that like to do that, and then develop those faculty members with those skills. And then there are small things like actually how you design the building. If a building has no place for children to actually work on their own, it's very hard for them to do so. And you actually go into even fine schools, and they're sitting in the hallway on the floor because there's really no space for them to pursue some of these things. We've worked very hard to have independent areas throughout the school.
So that's an interesting idea, connecting space with curriculum. Can you tell me a little bit about how that works? Because I don't think anybody has the opportunity to actually do that, right? They've got schools that are townhouses and patched together.
Well, some schools have good libraries, but are those libraries technologically up to date? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Are they substantial enough so that a couple of hundred students could be working in them independently at one time? Probably not. And we're creating spaces within the school which we call studios. And by the time you get to your senior year in high school, you actually have your own work area that is yours in the school, just as you would if you were in a company or an organization. And so think of it that part of the day you're in conference rooms with teachers, and part of the day you're working at your space on your own.
Yeah, we were talking about collaboration, Ty and I, and he was saying that, when you start an idea young enough, you're not aware that you're being taught this. So if collaboration is sort of a big part of the school, you're not even aware that you become a collaborator. Whereas if you're a senior in high school, suddenly you have to work with a bunch of kids, you might have to throw out tons and tons of built-in ingrained social behaviors. How does the school help foster this independent thinking? How does, and is that the wrong way to go? Is independent thinking not?
Okay, I think you've got that with Tom.
Well, I just did it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get in front of the camera, I guess. Okay. So you have arguably the best school leaders as a team ever. historically nobody's ever done this. How are you going to build the curriculum for the school? What's the curriculum design process going to be with this brain trust?
One of the most exciting things about this school is how we're designing the school. And I don't mean just the physical space, but I mean the educational program itself. And it's basically a three-part process. Part one is that we are doing a survey course of what great schools all around the world are doing. And we're breaking that into what we call workshops on individual areas within a school. Example, we want to know all of the cutting-edge math programs worldwide. We want the people that have created them to come here to talk with us, to give us a sense of why they think their particular math program, whether that's the University of Chicago's math program or Singapore's math program, why do they think it works best? Why should we adopt that within our school? So step one is what I would call a survey course. It's to understand state-of-the-art practice in every subject area and every aspect of a school. Example, assessment is not a subject area, but it's a crucial aspect of a good school. So we'll do dozens of those workshops. We've been doing dozens of them already just to get grounded on everything that's going on around the world. We will then assign special teams to different aspects of the design. And we'll say, we're going to have a language team. And once we've seen best practices out there, we will probably recruit some of the people that we've seen that we believe are best in that. And we'll say, we want you to design our language program. So here are funds to do that. Here are benchmarks. You do that work, you bring it back to us, we analyze it, etc. And imagine 20 or 30 of those work streams, which are individual design work streams going on at once. And then comes the most, in some ways, difficult part, which is to integrate those work streams into one functioning design. One mistake that a lot of school designers have made in the past is they try to do too much. They overwhelm their faculty. First year it can be a nightmare because the faculty is asked to do too much. And a thoughtful school design doesn't overwhelm faculty with too many new assignments. So that'll give you an example, and it's one of the most exciting things. And we have the benefit of doing it, which many schools don't, because they may have tried to do this a little bit in one area, but to do it for a whole school is pretty unique.
8 minutes, 15 seconds.
Okay, what are some of the outcomes you expect?
One of the outcomes that will be most important to parents is my son or daughter going to get into a fine college and university, and we take that very seriously. We think we know what fine universities are looking for. One of the reasons the ex-president of Yale is our chairman is we've taken his counsel on that. And so one outcome is we're going to work hard with families and with students to find best possibilities for them. And sometimes that's Princeton, and sometimes that's Pratt. It depends on what the child wants to do, and we'll work hard to do.
You've talked about assessment. It's a big word in education these days. How do you see that working into the curriculum?
Assessment in American education has often been viewed as year-end standardized tests. We think year-end standardized tests are the least useful forms of assessment available. Good assessment is real-time information that a teacher gets on whether their students are learning what's being taught at a particular week, or a month, so that a teacher can adapt and adopt their instruction. And that takes very sophisticated assessment systems, and you have to design, and by the way, it's best done in a paperless fashion, where students can do quick, well-designed assessments that show whether they have a grasp of fractions, and if they do, then you move on to the next part of math. And we want that real-time, frequent assessment that helps the teacher. That's what we care about, as opposed to something at the end of the year that you get in the mail.
We got 11 minutes.
Okay, let's change.
Cut.